games. So let's see, Dogao versus Nili. Finally some good games. The first player, the #1 seed, trying to qualify to NAC 3 against Nili, the host of the event and the newest member of Secret. It's gonna be everyone's favorite Highland map, which is probably one of the biggest cancerous map in 1v1s out there. It's the Water Buffalo version, so we have some extra food on these little herdables here. Nili on the right side playing Malians, and red is gonna be Dogao playing as Malians as well. So Malian mirrors is what we are playing with. And let's see the relics. 1, 2 on the side of Dogao, 1 for Nili, and I won't see any more. Oh, I need to switch. There. Yep, that's the other problem, Bagum. You're absolutely correct about that. That's kind of the same thing we had in a previous game. Nili is basically right next to the water, and Dogao is super far away. I'm not sure which is the best. I feel like this is better for Dogao. Like, look at that. His TC is super safe. It's super easy voling. You have a food line over here, here. You have a safe gold, you have safe stone if you just vol like here, here, and here and here. So basically this is like a Black Forest map. For Dogao. Of course, he will have to walk a bit more to make docks and wall this off. And he even has a wood line over here, which is gonna make it super hard for Nili to get through, because it's literally like 2 houses needed to block this entire passage. Meanwhile, Nili has his entire eco right over here. His primary gold right next to the crossing, which is also a big problem. Secondary stone is okay, but the other 2 gold mines are super exposed. Yeah, this is a bad map for Nili and an amazing map for Dogao. One thing that could be problematic is these gold mines if they are actually contested from the water, but I don't think that that's a big problem right now. I wonder if Dogao is gonna find this gold mine though. Let's take a look. It is supposed to have the same amount of gold mines for the players, so 2 patches of 4 tiles and 1 random of 3 tiles. That's the same for both players. Alright. Now, do we have... Okay, we have neutral water buffaloes here as well, and Dogao is supposed to have 2 as well. So, yep, Dogao can play super defensive over here. One player also has extra stone. Let's see, 5 over here and 4 over here. That's the standard matchup. And 5 for Nili on the primary one. Where's the secondary stone at? Wait a second, you don't have secondary stone normally? Yeah, indeed, that's the case. Nili just has a primary stone, and Dogao has primary and secondary. Like, that's the standard Arabia setup. You have 5 tiles of primary and 4 tiles of secondary. And Nili just has 1 patch of stone, which is kind of right next to his gold mines as well. You do have both stones, as Bagum says. Oh, there we go. It's just hidden in the corner here. And one guy has extra 2 tiles. I will try to look for it here in case of Nili. And oh, Nili, oh boy. You can't see it from the blood patches, but you can see that on the kill screen. That's 1 dead villager for Nili. So Nili's gonna lose a villager luring that board. That's a tiny bit problematic. And let's see Dogao's side. Yeah, indeed, there is the extra 2 stone. Indeed, it's super unfair. There is even an extra boar over here, which is not present for Nili as I can see. This is his first boar, second boar, and I don't think there is any more boars for Nili either. So yeah, super unfair maps here, it looks like. I'm struggling to find the other boars on Nili's side. So I'm fairly certain that Dogao has an extra boar over here as well. Again, quite unbalanced. Anyways, Nili's gonna go for the early dock over here to compensate for that lack of villager. Dogao's gonna do the same thing, but it's more like a passive dock, far away from the eyes of Nili. As, look at that, Dogao is just patrolling this crossing, making sure that Nili will never get through the villager, and that's the right thing to do. He is super far away to wall this off, so he needs to make sure that Nili cannot just sneak a villager through. And also, look at this natural barrier, by the way. This is really like a Black Forest map. Look at this. This layer of forest basically makes Dogao's way super defendable. The only real crossing he has to protect is like over here. And if Nili can't transport anything through, then he's gonna be super fine, because here is just 1 tile that you can stonewall easily. It's absolutely like a Black Forest-ish map here. For Dogao, not so great for Nili. Especially with one villager lost. Anyways, I wonder what the approach is gonna be here for the players. I'm not a big expert on Highland, but I feel like since neither of the players are voting, we could see aggression from either side. At least Nili has the chance to push these Ibexes down to the town center, as he's doing it right now, because they're fairly close to his TC. Let's see, Dogao's Ibex. It's acceptable as well. Dogao could push this as well if he wants to, but instead he's patrolling his scout. Anyways, fishing ship count is fairly even as well. And Nili is supposed to be able to click up very soon, just as well as Dogao. So yep, the fact that Nili lost to village early on is gonna be a big problem. Surprising house placement from Dogao. I'm not sure what to think about that, to be honest. Could have been forming a wall with that a tiny bit more, but I guess it's gonna be fine. Loom is there, and he's gonna click up in a matter of seconds. Or not. Yeah, he needs to drop off the food first. He's not on berries, by the way, if you take a look at that. So he's using the water buffaloes, not even touching the berries, because he has fishing ships to play around with. Same with Nili. Now, what happened to these little foodies here? Poor boar is just gonna rot there, just as well as this water buffalo. So Nili is very, very heavy on wood, which makes me believe we could see fire galleys very soon from him and the second dog. Probably alongside some archers as well, that could be an option, but there is no barracks in construction, so this might just be straight up fire galley play as both players are patrolling their scouts, making sure that no one gets through. The lucky thing for Nili is that he's gonna be able to see if anyone tries to sneak through his crossing here, at least. Fuel age times are fairly even, which is a decent thing from Nili if you consider that Nili has lost a village early on, so he managed to compensate for it, it looks like, as there is probably going to be a second dog coming his way. The other problem, by the way, with Highland is the random tigers on the coastline. That's a big problem in competitive maps, especially if they spawn together and just kill your villager. So yep, this island map is by far not suitable for competitive gaming. So, let's see, 4 on gold here for the gal. Just as well as Nili, but Nili has 5 actually. Alright. And, yep, Nili is gonna have a, like 1 second advantage to fuel, so he might be able to land the first shot on the Gao's scout. And they're turning around, this is gonna be super close. Like I said, Nili is just an inch faster to fuel, and that means that he's gonna be able to take a shot and just try to chase down the Gao's scout. That's a big mistake from the Gao. Turning around but not landing a shot on Nili's scout. So, oh boy, Nili does have a slight advantage over here, but Dogao is gonna take the hill and probably take this fight. Indeed, that's very nice. Nili will try to take the other hill, but they'll probably just trade scouts over here. Still, it's the game of survival, and indeed Dogao is gonna trade his scout off to Nili's one with 1 HP remaining. It's not a lot, but it's just enough to patrol over here, making sure that Nili never gets through with any sneaky villager. Anyways, Farigal is on the way for Nili, just as well as Dogao here. Dogao with the Stern Dog. That's not something that Nili is doing right now. So that's something to take a look at. Anyways, Nili is probably looking for Dogao's dog, but he hasn't found it already. There is the scout going down now, and the Stern Dog is a tiny bit late for Nili. That is gonna give a slight advantage for Dogao here. Anyways, let's see who's gonna be the first one to drop off some demos. That's gonna be the question. Nili, I think, is in a better position to repair his fire galleys, so that's something to pay attention for. Nili could use that villager to repair the fire galleys, and that's gonna be a big advantage for him. This is why having your TC close to that crossing could be beneficial for Nili here, because he's able to get to those fire galleys very, very fast to make some repairs on them. Anyways, in terms of villager count, it is fairly even. But I think that Dogao has a way safer base right now. Both players, by the way, have a section of the river that is unseen by the opponent, Dogao here and Nili here. So either of them could try to do a transport and land. But honestly, since this crossing is so empty, Nili could just try to sneak a villagers through and drop some military buildings there if he wants to. Like, Dogao is so far away to see it that it's gonna be problematic. That could be a big shot from Nili. Dogao is splitting his fire galleys, and that was very nice because eventually the damage was absorbed by just a single fire galley. Still, Nili does have the upper hand right now in terms of fire galley health, unless Dogao sends in reinforcements. There is the demo from Dogao, and that could be beautiful. Blocked by his own ships, which is gonna make it way worse than it could have been. But let's see. Oh boy, this could still be good. Sinking one fire galley is not the end of the world there. I think that's a fair trade for Nili. You can't really ask for more if you're Nili there. So, if a demo can only destroy one fire galley, that's alright. You want to use it to damage at least 2 fire galleys. Anyways, this demo, I think he's just waiting on the right occasion, and that has arrived. Beautiful demo by Nili, exactly that's how you do it. 2 fire galleys for a price of a single demo, and now Dogao is getting pushed back over here. There is his demo raft on the way. Nili could lose some ships over here as well in this fight because he's not really paying attention, and need perfect demo there from Dogao, not so much from Nili. This is kind of like a wasteful demo. Obviously he's probably paying attention to balancing his eco and building the back of his empire as well, so he cannot just focus on the demo ship combat. Hi from crowd.
Ladako, hi.
Welcome back. Thanks for the 7 months. Thanks for the support. Anyways, Nili does have a demo ship over here, but I think that he's trying to preserve that for later times when there is like a bigger cluster of the ships coming up from Dogao. This could be a perfect moment indeed. There is the demo ship sailing in, and oh, that was beautiful from Nili. That was absolutely beautiful. Why? Oh, why did Nili turn away? There was like 3 low HP ships that he could have destroyed. Yeah, there is a demo, and that's actually very nice from Nili. He traded that demo off with one of the fire galleys he had. Problem is that he let 2 of these super weak fire galleys go, and oh, he could have killed those. He could have killed those. Slight inefficiency from Nili there, using the fishing ships on the box turtles, which is essentially a shorefish. Obviously, he's kind of out of deep fish close to his docks, as Dogao is just landing a beautiful demo here. Nili getting overrun on worse, so he will need to get creative here because it doesn't look like water combat is gonna work for him right now. Maybe if he has a few well-placed demos, he can turn this around, but this is gonna be super tricky because, like I said, Dogao is gonna repair those low HP demos there. Let's see. This demo... Oh, this demo could sink both of those, or... Oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame because it could have destroyed 2 of these ships as well. But yeah, Dogao is playing very, very efficiently. 8 kills to 3 deaths right now. And Dogao could just kill that villager right now. Let's see if he does that or not. Doesn't appear so. Nili will probably try to land that demo on 2 of these fire galleys. And bringing a villager into a fight of fire galleys is not glorious. Oh boy, that's what you're waiting for, but Dogao is nice with the splits. Sinking 1 ship, but again, it's just a mediocre result right now for Nili, as he will probably start losing his fishing ships. And the problem, what happens now is that Dogao could get water control, and that would deny Nili from making any kind of aggression on land. I definitely think that Nili could try to get through. I don't think that he knows where Dogao's base is. So yeah, look at that. He has no idea where Dogao is, so this is why probably he's not even considering an aggression on land. But since he's losing water this hard, he might need to. Right now is the stage of piling up a bunch of fire galleys and trying to make one big push. Alongside a few demos, this could be a beautiful demo spot. There is a demo garrisoned in here. As Dogao will start to make a switch towards galleys here. Expect fletching to arrive very soon for him. So the idea is that now he's gonna get ultimate water control, and let's see if he can capitalize on it. Adding more fishing ships or not. There is some idols here for him. But yep, Nili is absolutely losing water control here, which is gonna make his eco suffer very badly. Now he's 8 villagers behind, which is basically a combined number of fishing ships and villagers. So Nili's eco is quite weak compared to the one from Dogao. But Nili is on the way to Castle Age. That is one reason why he's behind that much villagers, because obviously you cannot produce villagers while you're going up. So... oh, that's a decent demo from Nili, but yet again, this is not gonna recover the water for him, especially once Dogao is able to mass galleys here. Those demos will not be able to deal major damage to Dogao if he plays that right, so... yeah, this is the moment when it seems unlikely that Nili can reclaim the water unless Dogao makes a significant mistake. Dogao's gonna wall himself off, and this is what I said. He basically plays Black Forest over here. Now, even if Nili gets through, this is gonna be super hard for him to attack. Like, Dogao basically has absolute map control here. Considering that he also controls the river, that also means that he can just land over here if he wants to, anytime, and start harassing Nili on land. So this is a far better position right now for Dogao, but he's way too late into Castle Engine. That might be the trick for Nili. If Nili gets the war upgrade he's going for, this is gonna be essentially fire ships versus fire galleys. And we're seeing a transport from Dogao, so indeed he wants to turn it into land aggression. You can see that his score is way higher than the one from Nili. Nili could get water control back. Question is, does he expect a landing? At this point, he needs to. The other problem is gonna be that these ships will pop out of this dock before War Galley would hit. Or will they? This timing is actually quite good from Nili. There is the demo ship and the fire ships. This is the moment Nili has been waiting for. That demo could just sink an entire fleet over here. Dogao is kind of trapped, and Nili trying to demo down those galleys. That isn't gonna happen. Instead, gonna trade off that demo for 3 fire galleys. And now, Nili is turning this around. Now, like I said, his eco is somewhat weaker compared to Dogao. And there is already one villager coming up from Dogao. If Nili is lucky, he can at least see the transport. This is super important. Dogao is running away, as you can see. So he doesn't want Nili to see that transport. Nili probably can't stop that transport from dropping off the villager. The idea is that if he sees that, he can react knowing that his opponent is gonna have a landing on him, but that doesn't appear to be the case. And Dogao is gonna be able to do a landing here. He doesn't have a... okay, he does have a Brax now, so this could be stables, this could be archers. I feel like archers could be a better option, since he will probably go for war galleys anyways, and fletching alongside that, so those archers will be actually quite okay. As Dogao is massing demos, that's the right thing to do when you're facing mass fire ships. Anyways, this is somewhat unlucky for Dogao to bump into that one tiger over there. He needs to be super careful. Losing that sneaky villager to another tiger would be a very big disappointment. Let's see if Nili is continuing to add fishing ships. Nope, Nili is just going for fire ships here. That's gonna be full war aggression, trying to clean up Dogao. Meanwhile, Dogao gonna do second TC, and I think third TC could be on the way for him. And look at this, this is smart from Dogao. Dogao is using those water buffaloes to scout around the map. Or is this just him sending it into the corner? That's their option. Sometimes when you get the water buffaloes of your opponent or sheep, you just send it into the corner so that you hide it from the opponent. But he could use this to scout. Anyways, Nili's gonna do second TC and third TC over here on the critical resources he has. This is a beautiful TC from him. As we are seeing stables coming up from Dogao. I feel like this is a better scenario for Nili, because once he sees the knights, he can just go a few monks and kind of push them back. And Nili's gonna have the water control over here, so I'm starting to feel that this is gonna be better for Nili. He still is 4 villagers behind, but he's now having the score lead, and he's gonna be playing this with 3 town centers as opposed to Dogao, who is gonna have the third town center up in a matter of minutes as well. So in terms of eco, this could be fairly balanced, but now Dogao is losing water control, and I wonder if Nili is gonna try to capitalize on that with some extra fishing ships, or potentially try to get through the river. Indeed, because now you have water control. Problem is that Dogao is massing a lot of cavalry over here, and if Dogao plays this right, he's gonna mass 10 to 15 knights. He doesn't need to hurry, that's the tricky thing. Because he's super safe right now unless Nili makes a transport. At this stage of the game, I would really like to see either Nili making a transport or Nili using those fire ships to destroy the wall and let the villager in. The problem for Dogao is gonna be that double gold mines on the front here are completely exposed to Nili. So losing this would be a big issue, as he's making a town center. This is extremely smart from Dogao. I have seen this multiple times from pros, and the idea here is that you want to make sure that your aggression stays as strong as it is. If you lose this villager over here on the front line, you basically have 0 chance of building more production buildings. But if you have a TC, you can constantly produce villagers and essentially turn this into a land fight over here with a super safe eco at the back. while your opponent has the eco exposed to your knights. So this is a good approach here from Dogao. Problem is that these knights will reveal his intentions because Nili knows that Dogao can't transport knights through because he has the water control. And I think that when Nili took water control, Dogao was still in feudal. So that means that Nili knows that knights is something that Dogao could only make in castle, and Nili had water control when Dogao reached castle. So this means that Dogao's knights could only have came from his side. There is Nili jumping into the town center for safety. His TC positions are very, very good, so eventually he's gonna be fine. And there's the first monk. I'm fairly certain that this monk was just intended to get some relics. But eventually, like I said, Dogao will struggle to find any value for his knights over here. And there could be some conversions. This is why I was hesitant saying that the knight's aggression is gonna be super, super good from Dogao. One conversion on a full HP knight is actually quite good, losing one villager, but I think this is still manageable for Nili. Some kind of idle time on his villagers, but in return to that, Nili might be able to get through here with a villager. Oh, he's just making a house over here. That's a weird house spot. But he could easily start harassing Dogao's eco as well. That's a great spot from Dogao. And yeah, Nili will have a lot of idle time on him, and there's more knights coming his way. But like I said, the problem with knights is that monks will be fairly okay holding them off, as opposed to, let's say, crossbows, which you would need to make a siege workshop, mangonels, and then micro that mangonel right. You can still make a mangonel yourself to destroy the opponent's mangoes, so I feel like crossbows could have been a better option. Knights is a very good idea if your opponent doesn't have a monastery, but Nili reacted quite fast, so it's actually quite fine. Anyways, Nili needs to send this villager over here and start making his land army over here. Anyways, upgrades are not that glorious for Dogao right now, it just has +1 armor and bloodlines, but that is it. Like I said, Nili's TC positions are quite good, and yeah, he's just gonna wall this off over here, essentially making the back of his base safe. Problem is that most of his critical resources are on the front line, so for example, these gold mines could be idled a lot. Anyways, 3 monks is 3 conversions if Nili is playing that right. If he does that appropriately, he can convert 3 full HP knights in here, and he's just going full monks here. Meanwhile, on the other side of the river, Nili still not through with the villager. Oh no, Nili is losing the Sneaky Veil. That's a disappointment. I don't think Nili knows where Dogao is, so this is why he's just running around trying to find Dogao here with the Veil, but he just bumps into a wolf, and now... Well, I'm fairly certain he knows that Dogao is here in this corner. I'm not sure why he went into this one. Maybe just wanted to sneak some stables up as well. But I feel like if he just goes into this corner, that's way more threatening for Dogao. Anyways, Nili's gonna have a decent amount of monks over here able to hold off the knights of Dogao for the time being. Scores dead even right now. Villager counts heavily in the favor of Dogao. Look at that, 78 villagers as opposed to 55 from Nili. So Nili's eco was idled for quite a lot of time, to be honest. He does have 3 TCs as well. Or it is Dogao making villagers on 4. Indeed, there is a castle coming up for Nili, or Dogao. There is gonna be... it's interesting. Could we see a few Gbetos? It could be a decent option to fight against the monks here, to be honest. Like, mix in a few Gbetos to deal with the monks, and then you have a freeway for the knights. But Nili will definitely need some decent defense here. It's kind of like the typical scenario of having a big fleet you cannot capitalize on. So, yeah, Nili has water control, but what is he gaining with that? Maybe, just maybe, if Nili has a few war galleys, he could deny these gold mines, but I wonder if he sees that or not. No, Nili doesn't see it, so he doesn't know that he needs to go for that denial, because that would deny a lot of gold from Dogao, and Nili is playing absolutely defensive right now. I don't blame him. Meanwhile, Nili might bump into that castle that could be disastrous for him. No sensitivity on those monks, those are super weak to the knights. And this is an absolutely amazing defensive position, by the way, from Dogao. Covered by this forest on this side as well, using a cliff. Essentially, it's a very narrow choke point for Nili to pass through. So this is a glorious castle from Dogao, and he could move forward for another castle. Let's see if he's gonna make... There we go, Gbetos on the way. Nili with a sneaky villager? I'm not sure what this villager is supposed to do. Oh, it's just an outpost villager. Now this could be great though, because the Geberos are nowhere to be found. And Nili could convert 1, 2, 3, and I think it was 4 knights. And you also have those monks healing. Of course, Dogao is a very good player, so he's just gonna snipe down most of those monks. But Nili will trade off the knights for the ones from Dogao. And indeed, Dogao will be forced to run back. This is very smart from Dogao, by the way, taking away the gold pass of Nili, but if Nili just sends in the knights, he could start killing those. I wonder if Nili is preparing for those battles or not. Still no aggression on the side of Dogao right now from Nili after losing that villager to that tiger over here in this corner. And we're gonna see a second castle. This is, again, super smart from Dogao. Think about this. Dogao has this corner locking down a lot of wood from Nili. Essentially, most of the wood that Nili has. So this wood line is denied, this wood line is denied, this one is, well, just as well as the gold here. So Dogao will most likely go for starving out Nili from gold. And Nili cannot do the same thing because he doesn't have vision on these gold mines. If he had vision, this would be glorious because he could start harassing these gold mines with war galleys. And that would cause big trouble for Dogao, who is probably gonna run out of this gold pile very soon. And I wonder if Dogao sees this. See? Dogao doesn't know about this gold mine. So if Nili could just pressure these gold mines, Dogao could be also in a big issue in terms of gold control. There's the Geberos, perfect at sniping down monks. The models from the Geberos have been redone, I think. It's actually an okay fight, I think, for Nili, losing the monk. But the Geberos will also die very fast. And guess what? Nili is the first player to go Imp 74 villagers only as opposed to 104 from Dogao. But if he goes Imp, he can start making traps on a defensive castle. I wonder what he's gonna do. There we go. A lot of villagers on stone. Imagine this. This is gonna be a defensive castle position over here on this hill. And then we'll start trapping down the castle from Dogao. Also, Nili's defensive position is quite okay over here. Fairly narrow choke point to control, so indeed, it's unlikely that Dogao can actually break inside once this castle is up. Question is whether or not this goes up, but I don't think Dogao has the forces to fight this, even with the Geberos. Maybe he does. That's a lot of Geberos. That's a big load of Geberos. Castle at 40%. And Nili is just trying to out-micro those Geberos right now. Trying to absorb as much damage as he can, and Dogao is not really paying attention to villagers up until now. But now, Nili will have to take this fight because Dogao is trying to pressure the villagers. Now, one thing to point out. Oh, this is sloppy from Dogao. Those Geberos don't throw the axes, so the attacking animation really became slower for the Geberos. Back in the days, or back in AOC times, it was like Gebero turns around and throws the sword. Now it's super slow, so I think that Dogao wanted to kill some knights over here, wanted to kill some villagers, but he was like right click and then tried to run away, but then the animation didn't finish, so he basically killed no villagers, and now Nili is in a fairly good position. Dogao on the way to Imperial himself with the extra scale mail coming up, so we could see insane infantry armor for him, we might see champ skulls, or just free castles and go full Geberos. That could be an option, and that seems to be reasonable for Dogao. Still no aggression from Nili on this side. He's trying to steal relics from Dogao, but that is not gonna happen. Dogao has a safe relic over here, and here it is unlikely that he's gonna be able to take away anything. Nice quick pause there from Nili. He could really use... oh, this demo could be used if the Geberos try to loop around, but I feel like a few war galleys would really make wonders right now for Nili. Anyways, problem for Nili is gonna be that he's facing 3 castles, and when you face more castles than yours, your opponent will always have more traps than you, as Nili is also gonna go for battles of his, but he doesn't have the eco nor the production to keep up with what Dogao is doing, so he needs to pressure Dogao's eco a tiny bit or massively outboom him. I wonder which is gonna be the case. Dogao is also having decent upgrades on his infantry right now, as you can see. +2, almost there. Nili, I think, is missing all upgrades on the Geberos. First traps on the way, but in the moment Dogao reaches Imperial, this is gonna be 3 traps coming out. And as you can see, we're seeing barracks coming up. So, yep, my expectations are fairly correct in this manner. We are gonna see champ skulls. Now, this is important. First of all, this dog, if it goes down, then this wall is gone, and these Geberos will just run in. The other thing is that I feel like Nili could just pop out a few galleys and start harassing these guys. Like, even the fire galleys would be considered decent, as Dogao's gonna make a castle over here Nili trying to deny it, but the castle will most likely go up. And this is the moment when Nili needs to realize that, hey, there is something important over here. Nili might even lose his fleet over here. Let's see, castle though is gonna go up, and that could cause Dogao to lose a lot of those Betos. But it looks like castle is just gonna target the knights. Now, this trap is kind of exposed, so Betos can just run in and drop a bunch of axes on top of it. And see, this is the problem. Dogao is gonna have 3 traps as opposed to Nili's 1. Chemistry on the way for Dogao as well. That's not something I see from Nili right now, as there's gonna be indeed the Betos moving in to snipe the trap. Dogao is playing very, very nicely. Of course, a few Betos will bite dust again. Look at this. It's the slower animation again for the Betos here for Dogao. The idea here was that he's just gonna run in, drop the axes, and run away, but it didn't happen. So we will turn into a trap war, and remember, Dogao is fighting up hills here, so the traps of Nili are actually more powerful than the ones from Dogao. And also, Dogao right now doesn't have a chemistry, which is something that Nili does possess. Nili repairing his castle right now in this trap war, same thing as Dogao. Dogao still has a better position right now, as these fire ships will just kind of die to the castle very soon. Nili is still no aggression on Dogao's side, as the ecos are in the favor of Dogao right now, 127 villagers as opposed to just 100 from Nili. But if Nili can take this castle down, that could be a saving grace for him. It's 3 traps against 3 traps right now, but there is more coming for Dogao. That could be 4, 5, 6 traps for Dogao. And the problem for Nili is that he doesn't have the tools to take down the traps coming up from Dogao. Let's see who runs out of stone first. Nili doesn't have space to repair that castle with... Dogao is running out of stone though. Dogao is running out of stone. He will need to buy some at the market. Nili is still holding, but against 5 traps, this is nearly impossible for Nili. Dogao is out of stone though, so they might trade castles here. Nili still has enough stone to repair his own. Dogao buying some stone, but look at all the traps there. Look at all the traps, and the problem is that Nili doesn't have the army. Once these castles go down, Nili is gonna be in a big trouble. He just cannot pressure the eco of Dogao, and that's something that Dogao has been doing for quite a lot of time now. Nili, the best thing he can probably try now is indeed try to take down the traps from Dogao, but now there is the Betos moving in. Honestly, Onagers could work here for Nili, but this is a very, very troublesome scenario for him. As you can see, those Betos basically 2-shot traps here in such a big cluster, where Dogao does have a decent amount of upgrades on them, +2, +4, and that's probably a game there. Like, still Dogao is gonna fight up hills, but I don't see how he could actually turn this around unless he loses that castle. But this looks very, very grim for Nili, and that shows on the score. Dogao is having a significant score lead as opposed to Nili. And there we go, bombard cannons. Bombard cannons is an okay idea fighting traps, as the first castle does go down. Problem is that you need some kind of military that protects your bombard cannons. Now this is somewhat sloppy from Dogao though. Gonna lose a lot of Betos in the castle fire. I'm not sure if this is worth it or not, to be honest. Like, he's gonna take down the traps, sure, but in return to that, he's gonna lose his entire army, and now Nili has Betos on the field, and he can start pressuring the traps of Dogao. And also, if Nili moves forward with some more bombard cannons, he can take down those traps. So I feel like this was a bad trade for Dogao. If he just stays here with the Betos, and protects the traps, he can massively outproduce Nili in terms of trap production and take these castles down. Yeah, that's right, Vanilla Nomad. Dogao had a very, very well defendable base. Nili is still missing a lot of upgrades compared to Dogao, and it's interesting that these monks aren't really doing anything here. They could at least try to convert that knight, for example. Let's see, where are the bombard cannons at? Those bombard cannons are really needed here. Nili is doing a decent job holding this, I gotta say that. So, I still think that it was wasteful from Dogao to waste all those Betos there. By the way, Dogao does have a lot of HP upgrades on the castles. That's not something that Nili has. So taking down Dogao's castle is gonna be painful, but look at this. Dogao doesn't have an army here. It's heavy misplay by Dogao here, I believe. Look at this. He's gonna lose a bunch of villagers, probably gonna lose the traps, and now Nili could be on the offensive. Okay, Dogao is now massing Betos, but it's 2 castles against 2 castles. I still consider it an enormous mistake from Dogao to lose all those Betos in the castle fire. At least he just turned off 15 Betos for a single trap, and that's gonna be an insane issue for him. Anyways, light cavs on the way for Dogao. He could go for Farimba, and with Farimba those light cavs are kind of scary. And they are also kind of resistant to monks. So this is why light cavs are the play most likely from Dogao instead of knights. One thing to point out though, Nili doesn't have this gold pile, which is going to be a problem for him. And look at that. Nili is converting a villager inside Dogao's base. Look at that lady. Now Nili has a sneaky villager. Well, I wouldn't call this sneaky, but... Oh, hello. Now, I don't think that Dogao knows this. Oh, Nili. Is this lady just gonna stab someone down? Like, I don't think that this villager is gonna survive for long. But yeah. Indeed, there is Farimba for a +7 upgrade for Dogao's light calves. And I wonder what Nili is gonna do against that. He has a lot of battles though with the heal advantage. That could melt those light calves. Yeah, see? With the heal advantage, this is actually an okay-ish fight for Nili. Yeah, Bombard Cannons is a very good move here from Nili, especially if he starts making a few Halberdiers, or Pikemen first, of course. I think he can manage this. Meanwhile, the lady is still here. Indeed, as Vendor Nomad points out, this could be just for scouting reasons. Problem is that you need some kind of anti-cavalry unit now, because Dogao is flooding you with an insane amount of light calves. The Battles can hold quite well against light calves in small quantities, but not in such big armies. And now Nili is forced to defend. Let's see if there is any pikes coming his way. Indeed, it's just spearmen right now, and Farimba light calves will just laugh at spearmen. Oh, Nili. Oh, it's just a misclick, probably. The problem is that Dogao now is noticing this. But if Nili can just land a few stables here, he can turn this around. Mark my words. It could be still a problem for Dogao that he doesn't find this gold pile, so eventually if Nili is the one to find it, then that could turn things interesting. Nili doesn't find it either. That's a big problem. He's still looking for relics, though. Or is he converting villagers? Oh, Nili, look at that. Look at Nili. He's just converting more and more villagers inside the base of Dogao. Meanwhile, though, he's still struggling to hold off these light calves over here, and that's a problem because he's gonna lose the bombard cannons. Remember, we have to take a look at how many gold Nili has left. Basically, very limited. And once Nili runs out of gold, those bombard cannons are bye-bye, so indeed, you will need the pikes very soon. And, oh, this is bad for Dogao, fighting up hills against the bombard cannons of Nili. And that's great. That's absolutely great from Nili, trading off basically one bombard cannon for two. And now we will have pikemen. I wonder if Dogao is gonna start making battles again, but he lost two of his castles now. And indeed, he's gonna switch into... oh yeah, there is the lady dying, but there is another one. Oh, Nili! Oh, Nili. The sneakiest villager of all time from Nili. Holy moly. Now I wonder if Dogao sees that. Yeah, Dogao sees that, in case you wondered. Okay, Dogao is trying to stop this. 86%. And Nili is converting another villager. Alright. Oh, second villager is converted. And Nili could try to make it happen. But the light cav will probably clean this up. A single light cav and it's gonna kill the monk. That's the idea. Or? Is it? Okay, Dogao, at least he's making light cavs at home now. Which could be problematic for Nili, because I'm fairly certain that there is a hole over there. Yeah, that monk is doing work, by the way. Wish I had capture age to see how many conversions he had. Meanwhile, on the right side, Nili still has this defensive position. And Nili is doing another stable here. Now... Oh, Nili, 98, 99, just one right click. Just one right click, Nili. Nili, do it for us. Indeed, there is the stable up. The sneakiest villager of all time from Nili. And meanwhile, we will have a bunch of bombard cannons here from Dogao. Again, as long as Nili has this defensive position, this is gonna be... This is gonna be okay for Nili. Problem is the gold control right now. Like, Nili, if he sees this gold, that would be amazing for him, because he could basically exchange that for the lost gold over here on this side of the map. But now he's basically running out of gold. Yeah, there we go. No gold for him. And Dogao hasn't found this. If Nili is a bit lucky, he could still find that. Now, let's see. Oh boy, Nili is just running into a blob of bombard cannons. Anyways, there's the pikes here for Nili. He does have decent armor upgrades as well, and there we go. Stables switch as well from Nili, since we are gonna see light calves coming up from him. Anyways, Nili, this is the best stable to make your bloodlines upgrade at, by the way. Oh, Nili. It's just Nili things. Anyways, problem here is gonna be that bombard cannons will just evaporate small numbers of pikemen, orc meadows, and Nili, what are you doing, Nili? That's a bit of a misplay, I believe, from Nili. I don't think that that was his intentions. By the way, massive overboom from Nili. 158 villagers as opposed to 118 from Dogao. So this is gonna get very interesting, because both players are about to run out of gold. Because even though Dogao takes this gold away from Nili, he hasn't found his own 3 tiles of gold, making it fairly equal, I would say. This is actually beautiful micro there from Nili, taking down the trap without losing a single battle to the bombard cannon fire. Still, Nili is struggling to hold this, but he has the score lead by narrow margin. Let's see, single light cav coming up from Nili. He's just gonna go snipe villagers or what? Is it gonna be for scouting? Yeah, Farimba light cav is an amazing trash unit. The best trash unit I have. Well, maybe not the best trash unit. I would make an argument for Magyar Hussar, but Farimba light cav is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And now Dogao is pushing very, very hard here. And Nili will have to fight this, but he doesn't have the pikemen to fight right now. Still, I'm not sure if this is a great fight for Dogao or not. He's fighting in the range of multiple castles against pikemen. And that makes me wonder if this is a good idea or not. Once the light cavs arrive from Nili, he could try to push these bombard cannons. That's a lot of bombard cannons to fight against. Nili also has some building has upgrades, and Nili indeed gonna go for the villager snipes. Meanwhile, there's the war galleys to make sure that this crossing over here is controlled. And if Nili can just, like I said, loop around with the light cav here and find this gold mine, that is gonna be jackpot for him. Anyways, Nili's light cav slightly less upgraded than the one from Dogao, especially in terms of upgrade. So Dogao still has the upper hand in this one, as we're seeing elite skirms coming up from Dogao to counter the pikes that are coming from Nili. The problem here is that these are Malian pikes with 7 pierce armor. That means that skirms can't even scratch them. The idea is not bad from Dogao, but I think he forgot that he's playing against Malians, and Nili is pushing this with the pikemen. This is the strengths of the Malian pierce armor here. Skirms will not scratch those pikemen here, and Nili is gonna start pushing forward. Once Dogao loses this defensive castle position, this is gonna be a big, big issue for him. And I am starting to think that Nili will turn this around. He has a massive eco advantage now. 148 villagers to 111. And like I said, Dogao is also running out of gold. Nili is still just running around with scouts all the way. And this is going to be a big aggression from Dogao. I wonder if this is going to be a forward castle somewhere at the crossing. Yeah, most likely it will be. Probably try to bash his way through the palisade wall over here. If Nili is not paying attention, that could be problematic. No, Persian trash crossbows are bad. I would say maybe Malay two-handers. Malay two-handers are very good in combination with their fish traps. That's basically endless trash. There was like no major super good trash in it, but anyways, there is Nili with the aggression, and these traps are in a very, very good defensive position, by the way, partially covered by the wood line, and like I said, once this castle goes down, Nili is gonna reclaim his own map, and now he is pushing Dogao. We could see an amazing comeback from Nili here. Because Dogao is absolutely on the defensive now, he just doesn't have the eco to fight against this. Look at this. He's basically out of food, and like I said, with the aggression of Nili over here now, he is out of gold as well. Nili also gonna go for a few scorpions to counter the pikemen coming up from Dogao. So good preemptive thinking there from Nili, as there is going to be a big flood of light cav coming up from Dogao, but still, Nili should have a decent amount of pikemen to fight this, even though they are not in position right now. Anyways, now Nili is gonna start landing these stables and siege workshop on the front line with a landing actually, so he's not deleting these walls, instead making a transport to transport some villagers through. I think that's an okay idea, because you don't want to risk this side of your base. Just make sure that you transport. And also, credits to Nili for adding multiple docks and starting to make fishing ships again. So capitalizing the water control is definitely one thing to pay attention for, as Dogao is redocking very massively. Seeing that he's basically losing his grasp on Nili's side of the river, he's gonna start redocking and contest the water again, making sure that Nili is unable to contest his side of the base. As yeah, he's gonna stonewall this one. Most likely this is gonna be cleaned up by Dogao very soon. But expect a lot of ships coming up from Dogao, or at least I think that is his intention. Problem is that he doesn't have the gold to make ships now. He's still missing this gold pile over here. I don't think that anyone will ever find that. But that's gonna be a game winner gold for whoever finds it. So yeah, look at that. Look at that flood of pikemen coming up from Nili. And like I said, the problem here is that the guy is making light calves, but these light calves will just get destroyed by the pikemen, even though these are not halberdiers. And there we go, fast fire ship from Dogao. He indeed wants to contest war here. Problem is that Nili is already through, but I think this is an aggression that Dogao could easily clean up. And yeah, Nili's glorious stable is no more. Nili is playing very well in this one. And I think Dogao is super high rated on the DE leaderboards, by the way, so credits for Nili for pulling this off. But yeah, this aggression here from Dogao is gone. It's gone. It's a nice effort, and Nili is also gonna reclaim a tiny bit of gold left on the map. It's 200, but at least it's something. So yeah, like I said, I am fairly certain Dogao is gonna be able to clean this up. And oh boy, look at this. Now Dogao finds the gold mine here, and this could allow him to turn this around again, because he's gonna have way more gold than Nili does now. So he has taken away this gold mine from Nili. Nili is basically without gold for a long time, and I would like to point out a minor thing. Nili basically has very little gold, has 2 relics, and that's it. And once we actually get into warrior combat against fast fire ships, how do you fight that without gold? I was like, how is Dogao gonna contest warrior without gold? But now that he finds his gold mine, he will have gold and Nili will not. Yeah, this is a glorious landing from Nili. I gotta give credit from him for playing super smart, making sure that he's landing on a side. Problem is that indeed there is Dogao's pikeman, and what Nili did to Dogao could be done by Dogao here as well, just fighting against the stables with the pikeman. Yep, indeed, this is absolute next level of fights here. Pikemen destroying the fire ship. Nice quick walling there by Nili, but I think that there is a whole... Dogao is handling this super right. Nili's landing is very unfortunate here, by the way. Like, look at this. It's like one big cliff cutting him away from the base of Dogao. And this is turning into a very interesting matchup here. And we are seeing... Is this a transport from Dogao? Or is this the leftovers light cav he had? Because it is very close to breaking into Nili's base here. Nili, 136 villagers, Dogao 120. Still, kill death ratios fairly close to each other, just as well as military numbers. And Nili's aggression over here will not really happen. But let's see this aggression here. Nili will try to break in, but yeah, stone walls will be just fine, holding for the time being. But Nili is not paying attention to this right now. And this could mean a lot of these light cavs get into the eco indeed. Nili could lose some villagers into this aggression, and now Dogao is reclaiming control over the border. There is still some pikemen running around, killing the lady. Eventually this pikeman aggression is gonna get cleaned up. But now, Nili has some light cav inside his eco, and Dogao is starting to kill villagers, and this could be a problem for Nili. Now Nili has 2000 score lead, which is super important And I think that if the Vulture just gets in the town centers, then I don't think that there is a lot of kills that Dogao can make. But right now he's doing a decent job cleaning up a lot of farmers from Nili. I don't think that Nili has seen this. And that's gonna be his undoing. Meanwhile, Nili trying to go cap ram here. Dogao is not paying attention to this one though. And this is a way more significant aggression from Nili. A lot more light cap than the ones from Dogao over here. So both players completely forgetting about their walls. Oh boy, this is gonna be problematic for Dogao. He's preparing the pikemen though. Meanwhile, Nili still has a lot of light cap in his eco. I think he can clean this up, but he lost a lot of villagers. In fact, look at this. Look at the amount of villagers lost on this one. These farms are all empty. Nili went from 127 villagers to basically 107. Now the gate is open though. One of the light caps from Dogao left it open. And now Nili is in with the light cap, even though he's gonna lose the ram over here on the left side that has just broken through the walls. This is a bad fight from Nili though, taking the fight, I think, up hills and against the castle fires, so Nili is gonna lose his entire aggression over here and Dogao is gonna be able to counterattack. Meanwhile, like I said, Nili has lost so many villagers indeed, for basically nothing. This is why he completely forgot about that one. And now Dogao is taking control over the border. This could turn into be a 5 hours game. Now I think Dogao's aggression has been cleaned up absolutely. And there's the traps taking down the castle though. This could be a good move from Nili. Once he takes down the castle, he can start taking down the docks as well. Now one thing to watch out for Dogao. Yes, he's the only player with reasonable gold income right now. However, if you think about this, if he invests all his gold into fire ships, he will not have enough gold to make traps, make bombard cannons, and make siege units right now. Anyways, things seem to stabilize, as this is gonna be a battle for attrition. It looks like Meanwhile, Dogao is gonna lose this castle over here, not even intending to repair it because he cannot fight this trap war. And now the docks will go down as well from him. He has a slight village lead now, and what could be concerning for Nili right now is, remember where his starting base was? Relic count is 2 for Nili, by the way. And Dogao has 2 as well. So it's completely even. So remember that Nili had his starting base over here. By the way, look at this fish ship chilling here. Nili is also making some fast fire ships, but he's basically without gold. And I saw Man-at-Arms upgrade from someone. Yeah, it's Dogao made the Man-at-Arms upgrade, so he wants to go for the Champ's Cause here. Knowing that Nili is mainly making pikemen and light cav, Champ's Cause is a good option over here. Especially considering that he has gold. And remember what I said. Nili has his starting base over here. So basically all his farming eco is around here. And not, let's say, over here where it would be safer. So if Dogao can find any way to get through this over here, then Dogao is gonna be in Nili's eco and Nili's gonna die. Anyways, let's see if Nili is able to counter this one. By the way, that man is stabbing through that house. I just want to point that out. Anyways, Nili is able to hold this crossing for the time being, but like I said, he's gonna have a serious gold control issues. And once bombard cannons arrive for Dogao, he's gonna start bombarding these houses down. Nili seriously needs to consider moving his eco more to the back and adding a defensive castle over here. He doesn't have a single bit of stone left though, so this is gonna be way more problematic than it seems to be. In fact, Nili is basically running out of both gold and stone. Here, white Dogao, he still has a lot of gold in this corner. Well, not a lot, so he has mostly lived it up. I think the best bet here for Nili is to try to play for attrition, because as long as Dogao does have the gold units that Nili doesn't possess, then this is gonna be Dogao's advantage. Let's see, Nili still has a significant score lead though, as he's just bombarding down all the docks from Dogao. That's a big waste of wood there from Dogao. But the question is, who's gonna be able to cross the river? Looks like Nili is gonna make an attempt for it. Bombard cannons could land a lot of nice shots on those pikes if they want, but guess what? Nili is taking control over the water. That's actually an amazing game here. Somehow, he's able to turn this around in the water combat. Now, losing those precious fast fire ships that cost so much gold is a big waste against all these pikemen. Meanwhile, this is nice micro there, well, if you can call that micro, from Dogao, basically using his pikeman as meat shield and the bombard cannon from the back bombarding it. This is like 17th century warfare. Use the meat shields and then bombard them. But anyways, Nili indeed is winning the water, most likely because Dogao was losing all of his dogs, so eventually Nili is just able to outmass him with ships. But again, overextension of water is not a great thing either for Nili, and I would like to point out the minor fact that his base is open. His base is open. He needs a stone gate over here because if light calves start to pour into his eco, he could lose this. He has the fire ships to protect this crossing though. He could even mix in a few demos if he really wants to. Let's see the prices of the resources. Food. Sells for 17, same for food. So eventually, we are at very low prices now. There's the first war galley from Nili. Indeed, he wants to hold this choke point now. Cleaning up the aggression from Dogao. Still has a bit of gold left over here. And let's see if Nili wants to cross here with the pikemen and the traps. So he wants to trap his way through the walls here. And there we go. A few two-handed swordsmen coming up from Dogao. He still has a bit of gold left, but now he has consumed this gold mine as well. It's completely even. Nili, with 10 villagers less, just 110 against 120 right now. But yeah, this is gonna be a big problem for Nili. I don't think that Dogao has a lot more gold left. In fact, Dogao has a lot of gold. 900 against basically no from Nili. And yeah, the bombard cannons will be quite efficient, pushing through the war galleys there. Nili, again, gonna continue with light calves, that's a good choice. Pikemen will die to the champions, but light calves may be able to hold their own. Problem is that those war galleys don't really inflict a lot of damage on them. And like I said, once this crossing is fallen, Nili's gonna die. Maybe a demo ship could save the day here for Nili. Oh boy. This reminds me of Thermopylae. Like for real. One narrow choke point being held by the brave pikemen. As the war galleys go down, Nili is in a big trouble. Out of food. Out of gold. Oh, there is the heavy demo though. There is the heavy demo. Oh, delete. That's perfect for Nili. That's absolutely perfect, but he's slowly losing control over this crossing. Barrows could be a big damage dealer against these champions. Like I said, this is the problem for Nili here. His eco is mostly situated over here. He cannot afford to lose anymore. If he has one or two more demo ships that can potentially sink a bunch of these champions, he might be able to win this one, but it starts to show that his army is lacking gold here. Champions on the way to clean up the pikemen. As Nili is trying to trap his way through here. He needs to hold with trash units against champions here. But I don't know, war galleys are not enough for this. War galleys are not enough. I think if he had a castle somehow, that could really help his scenario or situation right now. But Dogao seems to start to outmass him. I still struggle to understand the concept of skirmishers over here because they can't even scratch pikemen. So like 7 pierce armor with 3+3 basically means that these skirms have 0 value against Nili's forces. And yeah, Nili is in, but this is a big waste. This is why I was surprised on this. Like, you basically send the 15 pikes with 3 traps. You're just gonna lose a bunch of traps and bombard cannons because the pikemen will die to Champ's cause. And this is what we are seeing here. This big blob of Champ's cause. Yeah, skirms have attack bonus against pikes, but they still aren't that glorious. And they also die to light calves. And guess what? Nili does have light calves. Castle left on any side. Good question, honey. I don't think so. No, there is no castles on either side. So, this is what you see here. These many champions is the extra gold that Dogao got in that corner. However, now he doesn't have Champ's cause here in this corner, so Nili can start pushing this. If Nili can keep these war galleys alive, that is gonna be amazing at holding this choke point, but he needs to play this patiently and carefully and starve out Dogao from gold. That's the only way he can win this. As long as Dogao possesses a large number of these Champ's cause, this is gonna be super problematic for Nili to fight. Needs to be smart. I think he needs more light calves because, like I said, pikes die very fast to Champ's cause. Light Cavs might have a slightly better chance. Of course, War Galleys are barely scratching these champions because, you know, it's Malian champions with the millions of pierce armor. And Nili needs to stonewall this, no matter what. He doesn't have a single bit of stone, and he doesn't have the gold to buy stone for himself either, but at least add 2 layers of palisade walls or palisade gates to something, but you cannot afford those guys to just pour into our eco. Anyways, Dogao, when this blob of champions start moving in, oh boy. That is gonna be a big problem for Nili. I don't think that he can hold that big blob of army off. Like, the only way he can hold this right now is demos. Like, for real. Demos can trade very efficiently against these champs, cause War Galleys are barely scratching them. If you can have like 2 or 3 demos that sink 8-10 champs cause, then that's the way to go. The guy is also running out of gold, so like I said, if you can kill this big army of champions, you can essentially turn this around for Nili, but this is looking very grim. As expected, the lack of gold is really showing on him. There is the first demo. There's the first demo, but it doesn't look like he wants to reveal his intentions right now. Trying to clean this up with the light calves. There's more light calves on the way. They have to gallop a long way, by the way, to the front line, which is also a problem for Nili. This could be big. This could be big for Nili. The timing is essential. Let's see. Oh boy. Oh boy, this is horrible for Nili. Just killing a few. This could have been way better, but there is another demo. There is another demo, but yet again, it's a mediocre result for such a big investment on Nili's side, as the skirmishers will trade fairly efficiently against the War Galleys, and that's exactly what Dogao needs. How do you stop this champion blob now? That's my question. I think Nili is out of options. I honestly think that Nili is out of options here. Like, he will try to clean this up. It's one final assault for Nili. I wonder what he's thinking right now. There is another landing from Dogao, by the way, with a sneaky dock. But let's be honest. If these were non-Malian champions, I would say this is manageable because you can use skirms to kill them. But with Malian champions, you cannot use skirms to kill them, and once Dogao arrives with pikemen, the foreign light calves will also die. Nili is still hopeful for this. But like I said, soon he will have light calves in his face here. And as well as Nili thought, by the way, he does have some light calves somehow over here on this side. I have no idea where these light calves are coming from, but they are killing Dogao's villagers. Dogao is down to 90 villagers and Nili is still holding. Hold on a second. Dogao is running out of champions here. Nili is in a very desperate situation. By the way, he's losing the monastery with the relics. That's actually very important. That was deliberately targeted by Dogao. However, Dogao is down to 88 villagers, and this is why Nili might be still playing this, because he's like, okay, I still have 120 villagers, and Dogao is down by a lot of villas. If you can hold on against the champions, Nili has equal chance to turn this around. Score is dead even in between the two players. This is one of the best games I've seen on the entire, basically ever since release. Like I said, this is this is the problem with the champions here. They barely are scratched by the town center. Not to see if it really had any villagers inside, it's just the Tigui here. But yeah, military numbers heavily favoring Dogao. 94 military as opposed to 40 from Nili. But remember, Nili has lost his monastery with the relics. And that also means he needs to make a monk to pick up the relics indeed. That monk is super precious. If a light cap snipes it, that's a big value with so little gold left for Nili. However, Dogao, like I said, he has lost a lot of villagers. Problem is that Nili is also losing his own villas right now. And I don't know. I'm really hopeful for Nili that he can turn this around, but I'm starting to lose, really starting to lose my belief in Nili here. He still has 20 villagers lead, and he's making battles, which could be quite good against the champions, and guess what? Most of those champ scars are dead. Nili's eco is still mostly intact, 98 villagers to just 82 from Dogao. If Nili can snipe a few more villagers, which he has the chance to do so with like this one light cap, for example, this could still be turned around by Nili. Holy crap, what a game this is. Absolutely amazing. Now, this could be something that Nili loses a lot of villagers on. He needs a few pikes to clean this up, or just to make sure. See, this hole that was created tens of minutes ago is so painful for Nili right now. This is where all those units are pouring in, but guess what? Dogao is losing the front line, and Dogao doesn't really have the forces to fight against this right now. There is a bunch of light cavs pouring through the crossing, and just a handful of pikemen trying to hold them off. And remember, Dogao's eco is fairly weak, nearly replenishing his villager count to 102. Meanwhile, Dogao is at just 80, and the Tigui town centers are really paying off for Nili, by the way. So the town centers automatically firing arrows without villagers garrisoning inside is actually a big advantage for Nili right now. Nili still needs a few more pikemen, and see, he needs the monk to pick up that relic. That's essential for him. Like I said, Dogao's eco is very bad. In fact, he is struggling with wood a tiny bit, losing most of his safe wood. In fact, his farming eco is super inefficient. Meanwhile, it looks like we're gonna see archery ranges coming up from Dogao for some more skirms. And look at that Champ Scott. That's big for Dogao. But still, Nili does possess a 20 villager lead, and we see a blob of cavalry moving forward. This is amazing. This is absolutely an amazing game here. And like I said, this single light cav is so important for Nili. It's killing so much. And now, if Nili just finds a way in, for example, this massive hole that again has been created by Ram like 15 minutes ago, Nili could just pour in with the Farimba light cav, and Dogao doesn't have the eco to fight this. Nili could choose to just go for the monastery. Why go for the monastery? Dogao does have 900 gold, and that monastery is gathering more and more gold for him. Beautiful creep was there from Dogao, but guess what? There is a hole, and a hole can actually make you lose a game. Nili is not going for the relics, Nili is just going for the lumberjacks. Dogao is losing massive amounts of villagers, while Nili is holding him off on his side of the map. What a game this is. What a game. Nili will most likely lose his light cav over here to the pikemen, but now I think he's in the driver's seat. He has 2 relics as well, just as was Dogao. Dogao mostly lost his Champ's Cause, and meanwhile, Nili does have a way better eco in terms of villager count. He's raiding the base of Dogao left and right, 74 villagers. Nili is playing amazing in this one. Turning this around is just one major victory for Nili. Look at that. Dogao is losing villagers everywhere that is possible to lose villas at. And now it's the game of Nili. What a game this was. So many turning points. I think that this is a game that could have been won by either of the players on so many occasions. So many occasions, slight mistakes happened. Both players had issues with light cav raiding their eco. Like, look at this. This is big. Same thing happened to Nili. A few light cavs can kill 10 to 15 villagers, and that can basically make you lose the game. Anyways, Dogao down to 64 villagers, and these freak battles will also be kind of efficient against the pikemen here unless they miss all their throws. Anyways, now Nili is in the driver's seat, and unless Dogao finds a way to replenish his villager numbers, this is gonna be very grim for him. The only thing that could save Dogao right now is that he has way more gold than Nili, so he has 1000 gold. Could pop out a few more of those Champ Scars and fight this aggression, but he will need to replenish his eco very fast, because right now Nili is almost having double the eco that he has. So great plays, by the way, from Nili. Whoever wins this game, this has been a very good effort from both players. Absolutely balanced. And this is one thing about the 4 relic system of Definitive Edition. This basically could have been impossible in AOC, because you have 5 relics, so someone will have more relics than the other. However, here it's just 4 relics, so even the relic count is perfectly balanced. These players might be fighting it out to the last 3. But like I said, Dogao doesn't really have the military to fight this. Just making more pikemen here, trying to fight it, but Nili's pikes will trade evenly against the pikes of Dogao, and Nili has way better eco, so he can make more pikes. It's that simple. Anyways, Nili's gonna do a landing here, and this is again super smart. Dogao, not revooling, this is an issue. Not even with houses, like he doesn't have the stone to do it, but in this case you have to drop a house here or something. But Nili can go in here with the raid, and this could be a game-winning raid here for Nili. I'm not sure if that is the way that the first wave of light caps got in, but if these guys can just run in here, then Dogao's eco is toast. He's replenishing his numbers fairly well, so 76 villagers, but still, Nili does have a significant villager lead right now. And like I said, Dogao, I think he completely forgot about this hole over here, and indeed there is going to be a bunch of light cavs pouring into his base. And one thing that could be problematic for him is that his wood lines are now exposed. So as compared to Nili, Nili still has some fairly safe wood lines over here, for example, but Dogao basically has most of his wood lines exposed to any kind of range unit that Nili can make. So at this point, I could imagine Nili making a few skirms just to make sure Dogao starts losing villagers on this wood line. Yeah, most of these light cavs are dead though. I don't think that they got major value, but guess what they do? Two of these light cavs dragging away the entire horde of Dogao, by the way. This is amazing by Nili. Look at this. Two light cavs dragging away all the cavalry, so that these guys can just kill villagers from Dogao again. Still, Dogao is 80 villagers, so he's replenishing his numbers fairly well. I don't know what that trap was doing there in the corner, but now it's gone. Yeah, Dogao's eco is absolutely in ruins. He still has a decent amount of gold left. Ah, this is rough. Nili is definitely in the driver's seat now, as indeed there is going to be the skirms coming up for him. He's slowly reclaiming his own island, and there is the next raid coming up. Dogao still hasn't revolved this at all, so Nili can just send in units into his eco as many times as he wants. And that's basically how you lose a game. If you cannot hurt your opponent's eco, but your opponent can constantly pressure yours, then you're gonna be in big trouble. Now the problem for Nili is that his army is kind of separated in between his own lands and here on the front line. Meanwhile, Dogao has a concentrated army here on the front line, and he could use it to turn this around. Nili finally stonewalling this, that's a smart decision there. And Dogao still hasn't walled this back. Like I said, Dogao doesn't have stone, but he could just drop a house over there. He's running out of resources very, very fast. And meanwhile, if you take a look at Nili's resources, Nili can play this endlessly. He has no gold, but he has basically infinite food and wood right now. Not like Dogao, who is basically out of food and wood, has a bit of gold left, and if he makes a few champions, then he can turn this around. And guess what? Dogao does have the army again to turn this around, and Dogao is gonna go for rams. This is what Dogao was stockpiling here. Waiting until he has the critical mass to go for rams and light calves and start pressuring Nili's front over here. Now Nili's, again, gonna continue landing. Water buffaloes. Anyways, Dogao's eco, it's impressive how Dogao is replenishing his villager count, despite the fact that he has lost so many to raids. So he's still 80 villagers, but he lost like, I don't know, 200 villagers already to raids. Here, and that could all be avoided if he just revolved this. But now, if you take a look at military counts, Dogao is taking over again. Nili is trying to clean this up, and I think Dogao is trying to delay him as much as he can with pikemen over here, so that he can make a push here in the middle. Let's see if Nili makes a few demos. If Nili plays this right, yeah, there we go. That's perfect. He's using all his leftover gold to make demos. Slight misplay by Dogao, because he's gonna lose that precious ram on the front line. But I think at this point Dogao just wants to secure his own lands, and that works just fine. Even trying to stab that poor transport ship down. And does that pikeman have bonus damage against the transport ship? Like, that transport was losing health so fast. I didn't pay attention, but that was weird. Yeah, these war guys are getting destroyed easily by the pikes here. Anyways, this is why I said that Dogao's base is super wobble. Yeah, pikes have bonus damage against war galleys. For what reason? And guess what? Dogao is counterattacking. 80 military as opposed to 60 of Nili. Both players with 2 relics. Nili having a massive village lead for a quite significant time. 120 villas as opposed to 90. Nili is just waiting for the right moment to strike with the demos. So Nili can still hold this. Dogao will start to have issues with wood control very soon. Oh, Alchemist Story, that's the worst. That's the worst joke I've ever heard. Yeah, it's pikemen do have bonus damage against war galleys, because camels are the ships of the desert. Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, Dogao does have a bunch of rams over here. What is concerning for me is that he doesn't have the follow-up military to help it out. So he can push this with rams, but where is his army at? Anyways, Dogao is gonna counterattack over here, and there is an unfinished house wall by Nili and also a hole, and that's gonna result in him losing villagers. Dogao again, impressive at replenishing villager count. Despite all the damage and aggression he has faced, he has managed to get his villager numbers back up to 100. Nili has had a way better eco for a lot of time, and I think if Dogao loses these rams, it's gonna be a big concern for him. What could be a problem for Nili now is that he's running out of wood on his side of the land as well. So if you think about this right now, Dogao has solidified control over his side of the river, but Nili hasn't. Oh, thanks for the info, Agamer, sorry. By the way, I was referencing to the common phrase that camels are often called the ships of the desert. I hope you heard that, because that's a quite common saying. Anyways, Dogao is trying to save these rams. It's essential to save them. It's so big investment in terms of gold. Nili is out of gold. Dogao is having way more gold, by the way. I don't think that he's using that much. Meanwhile, there is still one boar left. It would be beautiful if Nili just lamed that boar, you know. But it isn't gonna happen. So yeah, the problem is now this is a nice house wall there from Nili, and eventually he is fine unless Light Cavs breaks through the house wall again. This has happened over here, and now this will happen over here as well. So many things to focus on, and Nili forgets about this one. I don't blame him for it. Like I said, so many things to focus on. Right now, Dogao, 75 military, 70 for Nili, and Nili is starting to lose his villager advantage now, especially now that the villagers are being massacred here by Dogao, considering that he is through the walls here. What an impressive game this is. Now, what is that transport doing? Oh, look at that. Do you hear the production sounds from Dogao? It's just an endless spam of units. Nili still has way more resources stockpiled, but not by much now. He's running out of food. And, okay, he's gonna clean up this aggression now, so it's fine. But Dogao has caught up in terms of villager numbers. When will this end? Dogao has a significantly larger military here on the front line, but if you take a look at the summarized military counts, it's not that large compared to what Nili has. Nili just has his army kind of spread out. The good thing for Nili is that he has an emergency problem-solving method here with the demo ships. So if he loses the crossing, he can still send the army of Dogao down to the bottom of the river, and that might be the case here. Let's see. Nili again making some war galleys here, trying to clean up this landing here from Dogao. Like I said, this might go down to wood control here, because basically that's the only resource left on the map now. Now this could be a decent moment for Nili to strike, but I don't think that he wants to waste those demos on pikemen. He needs those demos on the rams. There we go. That's a lot of demos. That's a big blob of demos. Nili. Oh, man. Now, this is what I call perfect demos. Absolutely amazing. This is why Nili was just using all that gold on demos, because that is basically going to be a saving grace for him right now. There is still one ram, but that could be destroyed fairly easily, I am certain. Meanwhile, Nili is still just repairing that house over there, as the pikemen are slowly destroying these buildings. They are super slow destroying it, by the way. I'm not sure if that one villager can actually hold off 4 light calves. Meanwhile, Nili again, few light calves with the raiding here. I have no idea how those guys got in. Nili again, just holding this choke point. This will never end, indeed. This is why Highland is kind of disliked as a tournament map, because it can have super long games. Also, this might be the scenario in which, well, it might go down to wood control, and it would be nice to have capture age to see how many wood they have left on their sides of the river. But I have a feeling that Dogao might be having less wood. Like, he has basically this wood line over here, which could be exposed to Nili very soon. Nili, meanwhile, has this forest, has this one, has some wood in the back over here as well, even over here. So Nili is supposed to have more wood, even though he's just gonna waste most of those light cabs to the pikemen here. That's a big issue for Nili. Hello? You will never get through that stone gate with pikemen stabbing you in the back. But now Nili is the one making the push. 75 military to 54. Dogao has caught up in terms of villager numbers. What a game this is. And you have to think about the fact that Nili has managed to turn this around. Knowing that he has lost one of his gold mines to Dogao is actually impressive. So throughout the game Nili was in a worse situation and he's still holding off Dogao fairly well. Points are dead even. Still, in late Imperial at almost 2 hours of game time, Nili is gonna go for a house over here. I think he might want to transport some villagers through. He will probably try to land again with some stables and try to raid the eco of Dogao again. As Nili is gonna be the first one, well, not the first one, but the one to push through this crossing here. Dogao has a bunch of stone walls he can hide behind. And he's just holding this crossing over here. Skirms, I wonder how much damage skirms have against these Malian pikes. I don't think they have a lot, judging by the health bars of the pikemen of Dogao. But who knows? This is rough for Dogao. He's definitely behind in terms of military count right now. And he also has a bunch of idle military at the back that is responsible for keeping the scouts away. And also he has like a lot of military over here that is not helping him right now. And remember what I said, wood control is what this could go down to. Dogao's main wood line right now is over here, which means that skirmishers can start harassing the villagers. Dogao still can fall back to this one, and most important, this one. This is intentional, by the way, from Dogao, making sure that he has backup wood even if there is trouble coming his way. So he's using the exposed wood in case there is trouble coming his way. And oh boy, how did Dogao forget about this? This might be the end of the story here for him. He forgot about the single stone wall and like a few light calves bashed their way through, and now Nili is through, gonna start spamming stables in here, gonna start killing villagers again from Dogao. I don't think Dogao has the forces to fight against this one. He has a lot of forces pinned down on the front line, so 92 military against 50, but Dogao essentially has like something like 20 or 30 here that is able to defend his base. And now that Nili is through, Dogao is gonna be in big trouble. At least Dogao notices that by seeing the villagers die here on the left. But I don't think he has the tools to react to that. In fact, Dogao is out of food. Dogao is absolutely out of food. Does have a bunch of gold left. I feel like if he makes a few champ scars, that could turn this around. Like for real. Skirms cannot hurt champ scars, and pikemen will just die very easily to that. That might be the only option he has. I think Nili is using his gold a tiny bit wiser than Dogao does. And still, he's just trying to break through here, trying to get into Nili's eco. But like I said, these forces are completely pinned down over here. And meanwhile, Nili is pushing on the front line. Like I said, the problem for Dogao is, again, he's losing a lot of villagers. 96 is the real count right now. And he's just losing more and more farmers, which already hurts the eco that he was struggling with. He basically has no food, and he's losing farmers, which is a big issue. Also worth pointing out that he kind of transferred most of his farmers to this side of his base because of the raids on the right side. So, yeah, Nili's aggression over here is very good. Dogao is gonna try to pile side wall this as fast as he can. But this will also mean that he's gonna lose his emergency wood line. This is why this is so painful. Now this stone wall will prevent Nili from getting in, but now you have to clean this up. Alongside this aggression, which is gonna be solidified by a bunch of rams getting through the walls. And if they get through here, I think that Dogao is done. Dogao has no more wood left. Critical mistake to allow this wall to fall. And overall, the fact that you have so many forces pinned down over here, Nili is playing this amazingly, and Dogao has played it very well, but the fact that Nili could get through over here is gonna be the undoing of Dogao. Beautiful quick pause by Nili, by the way, making sure those villagers will survive. And let's see, Dogao is still 95 villagers, 52 military to 87. Nili has way more forces right now, but he's also out of resources. Like I said, a few champions is really needed here for Dogao. He cannot conserve that gold for longer. Like, what are you gonna use that gold for? He's still struggling with wood, but pikemen alone won't win the fight for him here. He needs something that can tank a lot of skirmisher fire, and that can kill mass numbers of pikemen here. Meanwhile, though, Dogao is in the eco of Nili. Like I said, his eco is in absolute ruins. And main problem is that he doesn't have a safe wood line right now, as it is just absolutely getting raided to dust. However, he manages to get into Nili's eco and he could start killing villagers as well. Villager count still dead even. But like I said, Dogao doesn't have safe wood right now. Dogao doesn't have safe wood at all. Well, he has a bit of wood to work with, but it's super limited. Hi there, T-West. Welcome. You have probably jumped into one of the best games I've seen. Well, the best game I've seen on DE, and probably one of the best games of the year. So yeah, villager count still absolutely even. As surprising as this sounds, this is still open for everybody. Why? Because Nili is also running out of wood. Look at this. This is Nili's remaining wood line, and this one over here. But it is contested by Dogao. We are playing this until the final 3 falls. Like I said, if Dogao had this safety wood line over here, I think he would actually be able to turn this around. Now that he has lost basically all his wood excess, this is gonna be super problematic for him. This wood line, it would be so good if Dogao could have a few villagers over here that will chop that down. Right now, millage number is still in the favor of Nili, though. Like I said, Dogao has consumed all the gold he had. I wonder what he made out of it. It's just light cap skirms coming up for him. Yeah, he's gonna switch to mass light caps, trying to fight the skirmishers because Nili is low on pikes, and if those Farimba light caps reach the skirmishers, then that could be turned around. Still, like I said, Dogao is losing a lot of villagers, but the same applies to Nili, who is definitely struggling with wood control now. Basically, how many lumberjacks does Nili have? Nili has 11 lumberjacks. Dogao right now has 13. So both players basically running out of wood here. That will make it harder to reseed farms. Oh, that fishing ship is idle, by the way. Just wanting to point out. By the way, Nili could send this fishing ship to the deep fish. That could be some extra food for him. But yeah, reseeding farms is going to be challenging now. But yeah, Nili doesn't have the enough pikemen to clean this aggression up over here. And that's problems for him because Dogao will clean up his entire army, equalizing all chances. Nili doesn't have any more demo ships to fight this one, as a few Gberos are also here to clean this up. Players are really using everything here. Nili is going to secure some extra wood for himself. I think the name of the game here right now is wood control. Nili is doing an excellent job at raiding the eco of Dogao. But still, the villager count is that even, and I think for a lot of time, like 1 hour long, Nili had the villager lead. Now Dogao is taking over. Not for long though, he's gonna lose a few villagers here. Nili is trying to break that temple, making sure that the relics ungarrison. Why is that important? Because Dogao right now doesn't have a single monk. If the relics ungarrison, you have to make one monk, which costs 100 gold. That 100 gold is super expensive at this late stage of the game. By the way, this is problems for Nili. He's losing a lot of those skirmishers very easily to light caps here. He needs way more pikemen, but he doesn't have a single barracks over here. So Dogao is going to be able to clean this up fairly efficiently. Meanwhile, Dogao's aggression also getting cleaned up on Nili's side. Dogao needs to make sure that this is going to get destroyed here. But if he does that, he's going to have a super safe wood line to work with. And again, he's going to be in the driver's seat. Holy crap. I was thinking about starting up on YouTube a bit more, because this is actually going on live stream. In case you haven't noticed, those who are here and those who are watching on YouTube, this was going on live stream. And I was like, okay, what kind of YouTube content do we want? Well, this is the YouTube content we are talking about. So, hello YouTube. Anyways, yeah, this is gonna be absolutely cleaned up over here. Problem is that Nili doesn't have the pikes to fight against this. And let's see, I want to see how the farms are done for Nili. He's still okay. He doesn't have a lot of non-reseeded farms. Because like I said, when you have this limited wood, problem is gonna be reseeding farms. And minor things like that extra water buffalo or even that extra boar could come into play. Because, you know, that's a bit of extra food without any investment. But yeah, this is gonna be cleaned up. Nili again, going for the water control. What a game this is. So right now, military numbers again in the favor of Dogao, villager count dead even. 84 military to 52 for Dogao. Holy moly. Anyways, Nili gonna stonewall this off over here. This is probably one of the least efficient lumber camps here. But the idea is that he wants to make sure that his wood is safe. And I would like to point out the safety wood here as well for Nili. Same thing as Dogao. He's using the wood on the front line that could be taken away from him in minutes if there is an aggression coming up from Dogao. So that even if he loses this wood line, he can fall back to this one. Meanwhile, if you take this down, then you will be forced to take this one later when it might be already lost by you. Anyways, Dogao is massing a big force over here, a lot of light caps. I wonder if he's gonna continue adding skirms over here to harass Nili's lumberjacks, but I feel like Dogao, again, is taking over. Look at that score difference, 100 score difference at 2 hours of gameplay time. And as I think Wonder Nomad has pointed out some time ago, this is all about a few points on a leaderboard. That's gonna be the most disappointing thing for someone who, or whichever player loses this game. Like, you play 2.5 hours, let's say, because this is far from being over, for potentially losing a game and just losing 15 points on the leaderboards. Anyways, yeah, these stone walls are super safe for Nili. One thing he has to watch out for is overchopping. That could happen very soon, especially when you have so many villagers around. This aggression indeed from Nili cleaned up, and the guy's gonna claim his safety wood line. Still, there is some holes coming up, but not anymore. Guess what? Nili has a transport. This is super important because the transport can just drop off the light cav on the other side and continue spamming it inside Dogao's base. Villager count, again, taken over by Nili. 125 villagers to 111. Nili definitely thinks that the only way he can win this is if he can outmass Dogao, and for that, he needs more eco. Right now, the interesting thing is that Dogao has way less villagers on wood, but so far he is holding. Not sure if Dogao streams this. I don't think that he streams that, but yeah, this is one heck of a stream for Nili, indeed. Anyways, this gate evaporated, and Nili is gonna push this. So the interesting thing is that Dogao does have the military advantage, but his forces are kind of spread out on multiple sides of the map. Some of the pikemen patrolling here, making sure that Nili cannot just land with light cavs over here. Some of his forces are cleaning this up over here, some of the forces are pressuring Nili here. So he doesn't have a lot of critical mass here in the middle, but still he's pressuring Nili. Nili 55 military, 82 for Dogao. And are those demos garrisoned? Yeah, those are demos. Again, Nili with the ultimate problem-solving weapon here, which might need it to be utilized. Although, I don't think that Nili is gonna use that. You know why? Because he can endlessly repair these. Well, not endlessly, but he can add layers of palisade wall if it's necessary. As long as there is no siege involved, oh, this might be good value here. It really depends. Do you want to waste? Oh man, yes you want. So the question is, do you want to use up one of those precious demo ships that cost gold for you for just pikemen and light cavs? But if you have a that big trade-off, basically killing like 20-ish pikemen from Dogao, then the answer is yes. But Nili is probably conserving some of them at least for the siege units for Dogao. Not as if Dogao really had any siege units, because for siege units you need gold. Nili tried to redog this again, trying to land on Dogao's base. And again, Nili is the player on the defensive. Oh, that's another beautiful demo by Nili. I definitely think that if Nili wins this, the thing that won him the game is the demos. Not just here, but we had the Rams aggression here from Dogao with all that champions. That was basically turned around by the demos here. And Nili, again, has a bunch of demos ready and waiting to attack. These war guys are not super efficient, although I would really like to see how much damage they're dealt. This game overall would be super nice with capture rate statistics. Right now, military count, still that even Nili has a 15 village lead right now. And Dogao is destroying these houses, which makes me believe Dogao might want to try and land here. Indeed, he already has landed with barracks. And, oh look at that, this is why he was not using any gold units for a long time. A lot of champ skulls arriving. And this could be big. Now Nili Nili just gonna stonewall. Yeah, the entire game is super, super close. And I feel like Dogao could just start chopping down these trees. In fact, one glorious move from Dogao would be... I've never seen anyone do this, by the way. But yeah, the Champions is gonna be a game changer here for Dogao, cleaning up the pikemen from Nili. And same here, especially if they can get through the walls over here, that could be big. But one thing I'd really like to see from either of the players... I don't think that either of them has Onager upgrade right now, but I would heavily consider investing into Onager and chopping down the trees from your opponent's base. Like, for real, think about this. If Nili just uses one Onager to chop down the trees over here, Dogao is gonna be in a very big trouble. Same is the case for Dogao, chopping down the trees of Nili. And meanwhile, a transport ship could happen. Oh boy, this is gonna be big. Nili is not repairing this, so the Champ's cars can walk in easily, but I think there was a chance that Dogao just transports those through, and the demos will sink the transport. Now, this could be big. Oh, Dogao, don't do that. Don't do that, Dogao. Meanwhile, we are seeing fortified gates. Not happening, but a lot of those Champ's cars buy the dust here to demos, so it's not as bad as it could have been. But again, Light Cav and Champions in Nili's eco, that could be a problem. The quick gate is okay. Another big mistake by Dogao there. Of course, there's a lot of place to focus at. Like, he's probably focusing on his eco, focusing on a fight over here, but Nili is absolutely making this happen with the demos. Like, the only thing that is saving Nili right now is the demos. Again, he's gonna lose a bunch of villagers. The Tigui town centers are really paying off, by the way, here. So, yep, these demos killed a lot of those valuable champions that could have been so dangerous to Nili. So if we take a look at these champions here right now, most of them are super low HP. And a few battles will most likely be able to clean this up. So Nili survives the worst, but now he's facing an aggression on the front. And look at that military count from Nili dwindle. 20 military from Nili, 70 from Dogao. Ah, this is rough. Nili needs to mass his army again, but he's out of food. Dogao has way more food, by the way. Dogao has 86 villagers on food as opposed to Nili just having 62. But Nili has way more on food. Nili is, by the way, playing a kind of deathmatch. Oh, don't do that, Nili! Oh no. This might be the game-losing move here, Bomb Nili, opening that gate with the pikemen. Because now, those light cavs just clean that up very easily. Nili will be able to send the pikemen over here to this side, even though he has to deal with this aggression as well. So, Nili is playing this very, very deathmatch-like, going on the wood. And that's something I want to point out. Nili is an amazing deathmatch player, and in deathmatch you always get, or not always get, but frequently get to this late stages of the game when we are talking about wood control as the #1 thing that determines the outcome of a game. As we see Champ Scars on the field as well, we need demos here from Nili. There is the demos though. There is the demos. Oh man, can Nili make this happen again? There is so many things happening, but this demo could be the most glorious demo ever. Oh, look at Nili. Look at Nili holding this off. Kill death ratio, dead even. Villager count slightly in the favor of Nili, but he's losing a bunch of villagers here to the light cav raids. This is still open. Nili is trying to revolt that right now. Unsuccessful, but guess what? Dogao lost his army here. And this is literally like the Battle of Thermopylae. Nili holding off this narrow crossing. This is a big waste, by the way. Losing demo ships for a single... Oh, man. Yeah, this is why demos are a bit problematic if you don't have the time to micro them, because they will just automatically attack 1 or 2 units and it's gonna be a big waste. Now Nili is losing a lot of villagers, down to 113, and he's forced to run back to a town center that is extremely far away from him. Still, he's gonna be able to revolt this, and I am fairly confident he's gonna be able to replenish his numbers right now. Military is still dead even. And like I said, Nili has the life-saving demos here, and this is what I was waiting for. To start playing for wood control. To start playing for wood control and just make sure Nili doesn't have enough wood. That's the name of the game here. Alright. There is a ram coming up here for Dogao, and if Nili doesn't pay attention, then this could be even worse for him. Oh man. Oh man, Nili is purely on the defensive side right now, but he does have the military again. Dogao taking over in terms of villager count with 113. But yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of light cavs here ready to fight this, even though that will eventually mean that that stone wall might be lost. Nili re-walling this again. What a game this is. Like I said, Nili has amazing experience in super late game scenarios like this. Again, opening the gate to the villager is a big issue. It's not really Nili making a mistake, it's more like, oh, the villager starts going that way and it opens the gate, but you will have to lock that gate as soon as possible. I think there's a demo, but I don't... No, please don't. Oh, that's a waste. That's a big waste from Nili. Yep, I think he has the rally point set somewhere around over here for his demo. See? This Doc has the rally point set over here, so demos just pop out over here and sit here until they see one unit and destroy it. Before that, Nili had the rally point set on the dogs themselves, so that we didn't have the demos on garrison and start killing stuff. Anyways, summary. There is gonna be Siege Workshop, most like a mangonel coming up from Nili trying to take down that ram. And I wonder if there is a way in or not. No, there is no way. There is no way in. There is still one tree separating two players. I still believe that one of the players that could start onager chopping down the trees of his opponent could get a significant step towards victory. Anyway, somehow some light cav sneaking over here. That could be a problem for Nili. Nili is down to 98 villagers, so he will need to replenish villager count. He will definitely need to replenish villager count. He's running low on wood, which is a big problem. 73 military, but most of them are idled here on the right side, while the crossing is in critical danger again. Still, the problem for Dogao is that he doesn't have the siege to push through this gate. So Nili could technically repair this if he pays attention. So many things to focus on for Nili. I don't blame him for not being able to see this, but this could be a problem for him. Few skirms will not stop this aggression, and the gate is going down slowly in HP. Dogao still has a lot of wood to work with. Problem for Nili is that he's basically losing safe wood access very soon. With Dogao's aggression here on his side, score, again, almost dead even. It's absolutely amazing. Nili is switching to a large number of skirmishers and playing a defensive warfare over here. But like I said, wood control is gonna be a serious issue very soon. I could really imagine Nili trying to transport a few villagers through here, or... It's a typical scenario that we had previously when Dogao had a landing on him and he didn't really pressure Dogao's eco. He needs to somehow start pressuring Dogao, because otherwise this is gonna be a big problem. Dogao is gonna transport some pikemen through, and the gate, I'm not sure how long this is gonna hold, but I'm fairly certain that this transport is intended to transport some units through here. No demos in the near vicinity to sink that transport either, and we are gonna see that low HP transport getting just 2 cavalry through. What a waste. 2 light cavs through, and I think we have enough skirmishers over here to sink that low HP ship. Meanwhile, here Nili is still holding this off. Using skirms to destroy rams is definitely showing off the problematic side of things, and this is what is huge for Dogao. This is enormous for Dogao. He has a foothold over here, and he's taken away the foot from Nili. Now the gate is crumbling. Again, Nili doesn't have the forces over here to fight this. He does have the military advantage with 91 compared to just 70 military from Dogao, but he doesn't have the critical mass over here on the left side. Meanwhile, on the right side, I think that a lot of his military is idled by Dogao's forces. Basically, Nili has no eco here, by the way, so look at all these dead farms. This is a big waste of wood, by the way, so Nili will need to go back to these farms at some time, because 500 foot here, 500 foot here. A lot of these farms could be very useful for Nili in the long run. But now, Dogao is through, and this might be the biggest aggression that has managed to cross the crossing here. And it's heading straight into... might even head to the monastery. Here. I think, yeah, that's gonna be the plan. Or just kill the villagers, that's also an option, but I would heavily consider killing the monastery. That can be a game-winning move. Oh, a single bombard cannon from Dogao could do so much work on Nili's skirms. When you have to micromanage so many things, a single bombard cannon can destroy the army of a bunch of skirms. Let's see if that's gonna be the case. The skirms are blocking the light cap from exiting, by the way. And that also means that the bombard cannons will do a quick work of Nili's skirms here. Let's see. It looks like the relics are safe, but a lot of villagers from Nili go down, and down he goes to 87 villagers. I think this is the end here for Nili. He has really fought hard in this game. Like, he had so many chances to win the game. He's running some light cav into Dogao's eco. knowing that he's losing villagers, he's just trying to compensate for it by killing villagers from Dogao as well, and that could happen, but the question is, does he have enough wood control? I don't think so. Does he have enough military? I don't think so. Although, he has 90 military compared to Dogao's 58, but Dogao has a significant larger villager count now. 121 villagers as opposed to 88 from Nili. But look at this, Dogao is not seeing this, and Dogao is also losing a lot of villagers, so Nili could compensate for his loss here. The gate is again up, so no more light caps pouring into her eco, but Nili has suffered very badly from this aggression. He's mostly switching to skirms here, but yeah, Champ Skulls will just be completely resistant to skirms here. I'm not sure if that's the right idea from Nili to go full skirms, basically. Like, these skirms are hopeless against Malian infantry. If this was any other civilization than Malians, this would be an okay idea. But look at this flood of champions. This is not gonna be something that skirms will stop. They can't even scratch those guys. Nili needs something more like light calves and trade off only food units to gold heavy units, or well, at least partially gold heavy units, like the champions. Most of the aggression here is cleaned up, nearly down to 86 villagers. Meanwhile, Dogao has lost a lot of villagers on the wood. Finally, the pikemen arrive to clean this up, but look at this destruction that Nili has caused. And a single light cav just running around. And killing even more villagers from Dogao. Still, I have serious doubts that Nili can hold this. Nili is basically out of any wood that he can find. And meanwhile, Dogao is systematically chopping down his wood, by the way. And that's also super big. I just don't think that the Champ's cause can be stopped by skirms here. Like, I think that Nili needs more light caps. Problem is that his eco is absolutely in disaster. Hi there, Oracle, by the way. Yeah, Nili is down to 70 villagers. I think this is the end of the story. Indeed, Nili caused the GG. What a game this was. 2 hours, 11 minutes on a Karas. Basically fighting to the final 3. Holy crap. So many places where either of the players could have won this game. So many places. Like, did you remember when Nili had 5 stables here killing all the villagers from Dogao, or basically pushing Dogao down to 60 villagers, but Dogao did an insane job rebooming. And the fact that he could constantly keep up the pressure on Nili's side is just impressive. Now, it's important to point out though that Dogao had a way better map, especially in terms of early combat than Nili. So his Black Forest-like map was way more defendable than the one from Nili. So I think this could have gone either ways. Nili was impressive with the demo ships. I feel like if he doesn't lose that many demo ships in a Wayne here at the end, he could have had this crossing. And if he holds this crossing, his eco is still safe. But yeah, problem was that he couldn't clean this aggression up over here. And remember that he was trying to destroy this with pikemen, but pikemen were so slow destroying it that Dogao was able to reinforce it and eventually turn this around. Holes over here on Nili's wall, hole over here when the Champ's card just went in and absolutely started destroying stuff. The overchop over here, through which these Champ's cards are pouring in, is a massive but amazing game by both players. Let's take a look at the stats. Nili. Look at that kill death ratio. 2000. By Alchemistry. 2000 kills on either side, and it's so close. It's so close. If you take a look at any kind of stat, in terms of kills, in terms of kill death ratio, in terms of building destructions, in terms of resources as well, in fact, Nili has collected more wood. I had a feeling that he's doing that. Like, there was a part of the game when Dogao had like 20 villagers on wood, and Nili had like 50. But yeah, this is big from Dogao. The extra 3000 gold is really paying off for him, the extra gold that he has found in the corner, or, well, what he took away from Nili. But yeah, nearly 100% exploration, that's also quite impressive. Rally gold is also super even. Everything even in this game. It was just one crazy game. So yeah, this will probably go to YouTube, so bye YouTube. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Let's